So, on September the 21st, 2024, Daniel Dubois will defend his IBF heavyweight title against Anthony Joshua. You know, some people questioned if the public would really be interested in this fight. And what went and happened? Well, the fight is only set to break UK record attendance for a boxing event, with a reported 96,000 expected to attend this event at Wembley Stadium as part of Riyadh season. This is an epic fight, and everyone is expecting a good fight. But how did we get here? I'm going to tell you both guys' stories, both guys' rises and falls and rises again. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on Dubois versus Joshua. Anthony Joshua, Olympic gold medalist, two-time heavyweight champion of the world. The man has been there, seen it, and done it. He's fought the likes of Dillian Whyte, Joseph Parker, Vladimir Klitschko, Alexander Povetkin, and Alexander Usyk. The man's resume speaks for itself, and at this stage of his career, some speculate the best has still yet to come. Joshua became heavyweight champion of the world in 2016 when he beat the man who claims to walk this earth like a god. And I'm not joking, that's an actual claim made by Charles Martin. Yeah, he didn't appear to walk this earth like a god. This was in Joshua's 16 pro fight. He beat Charles Martin and became heavyweight champion of the world. Nice little title to have, but was he ready for the responsibility that came with it? The answer was a resounding yes. 1 year after the fact, he beat the great Vladimir Klitschko and picked up the WBA heavyweight title. From there, only 1 year later, he would beat the previously undefeated Joseph Parker, picking up the WBO title in what many consider to be a fight of the year. No, it wasn't really, was it? I was lying there. No one considered it a fight of the year. No, it was a bit of a stinker, in fact. Referees seemed to forget this was a boxing match, cautioning both fighters every time they got close. Mate, you do realize it's a boxing match? Moving on. He beat Alexander Povetkin at Wembley Stadium, and then he looks set to take on America and try and conquer that too. When his US debut was announced, it was meant to be against the loud, brash Jarrell Big Farmer Miller. But living up to his nickname, well, he went ahead and he got himself popped. So an opponent needed to be announced. Joshua needed to fight someone at MSG, so Andy Ruiz on short notice came in. The fans who didn't know him, they thought, seriously? What the F? Is this the best you can do? It looks like you got this guy from the pub. Well, we like a big knockout, so we'll watch anyway. Oh, if only they knew. Ruiz pulled off the upset by dropping Joshua 4 times en route to a shocking 7th round stoppage win. Some speculated after that Joshua was done, with Ruiz even doubting himself that Joshua would take the rematch. Joshua would go on to win the rematch. However, some boxing trainers like Ben Davison were less than impressed, saying Joshua was a pound shop Tyson Fury. Joshua would then go on to defend his title a year later against Kubrat Pulev, and then in 2021 he came up against the great Alexander Usyk, losing to him on a wide unanimous decision, and then losing the rematch in 2022. That took place in Saudi Arabia. Since then, Joshua's been on the comeback trail with wins over Jermaine Franklin, Robert Helenius. December of 2023, he stepped in there and fought Otto Wallin, the man who gave Tyson Fury all he could handle. And Joshua, on paper, this seemed like a tricky test for Anthony Joshua. He battered him in 5 rounds, forcing him to quit, before sending Francis Ngannou into another universe. Legend has it, he's still sleeping right now. So he comes into this fight on a good run of form with his confidence very, very high. Daniel Dubois, a man who didn't have the amateur career of Anthony Joshua, he turned pro very young at the age of 19, and he signed a promotional deal with Frank Warren and Queensbury Promotions. Dubois' first fight as a professional was a knockout win in the first 35 seconds of the first round against Marcus Kelly in April of 2017. From there, Dubois started to gain some traction, with his knockout win over AJ Carter getting the public's attention and adding more traction to his name. With 2018 dawning, it was around this time that Frank's other upcoming heavyweight, Nathan Gorman, started to make a name for himself too, and some felt that he was an even greater prospect than Daniel Dubois, with some feeling Dubois was a little bit too stiff and robotic to do much in the heavyweight division. The two seemed on course to meet. Gorman kept winning, and in style. Dubois likewise. But in October of 2018, Dubois ran into Kevin Johnson, who lost the fight, but it went the distance, and that had people questioning, did Dubois actually have the punching power to even compete at heavyweight? Going into 2019, there was a lot of questions that Dubois needed to answer. Well, first of all, in February of that year, he started pretty well by knocking out Razvan Kajanu, and that was in the Royal Albert Hall in London. Many people remember that. From there, he went on to have a very good scrap against Richard Latte. This would set up a summer clash between Daniel Dubois and Nathan Gorman. Some feeling this was a pick'em fight, and well, Dubois stopped in 5 rounds and hardly looked in trouble. But also on that card was Queensberry's newest signing, Joe the Juggernaut Joyce. And while we had to wait a little bit longer than planned, November of 2020, it happened. Man versus boy. That was what it was. On the night, Joe Joyce, bigger, stronger, more experienced, put a beating on Daniel Dubois, forcing him to quit in round 10. Many felt that this was the end of Dubois. At just 23 years old, did Frank Warren have faith in him? Did he believe that he could do anything? Well, Frank Warren did have the faith in him, and in 2021, he had his comeback fight against highly ranked with the WBA, Bogdan Dinu. Daniel Dubois was able to win that fight, and this actually made Daniel Dubois mandatory for the WBA heavyweight title. Well, the regular title. It made him mandatory for. But a title is a title, I guess, and, in the eyes of old Frankie boy, anything will do. Dubois had to wait almost a year to the day for that title shot, but in Miami, in June of 2022, he fought the WBA regular champion, Trevor Bryan, and Dubois slept him in 3 rounds. He followed that up with a very shaky performance against Kevin Lorena, getting dropped 3 times in the first round, but ultimately coming back to win the fight. To say this has been a rocky journey, I'm feeling the bumps just even talking about it. Next for Dubois was a trip to Poland to take on the legend that is Alexander Usyk, who was coming off the back of 2 wins over Anthony Joshua. And, well, it was Joyce all over again. This time, however, controversy would come into it when Dubois appeared to score a knockdown on Usyk with a borderline body shot in the 5th round. The referee, however, ruled that it was low, and Dubois said this affected him, and it led to Alexander Usyk making Daniel Dubois quit in the 9th round. Old Frank, this time, wasn't going to wait around and bring him back slowly. Nope. In December of 2023, Frank matched Dubois with the returning Jarrell Big Farmer Miller, and many people predicted Dubois would quit again. But something seemed different in Dubois this time. More confident, more brash. Dubois came through a hard fight to stop Jarrell Miller in the dying seconds of the fight. And from then, he was put into the Queensberry team to go up against Matchroom on the 5v5. He was matched against previously undefeated Filip Hrgovic, and many were picking Filip Hrgovic to win this fight. But Daniel Dubois, again, not reading the script, picked up the win, and with that, became IBF interim champion before Alexander Usyk gifted him the full title. So he went from people wondering, was his career done, to become an IBF champion in less than a year. But now, he faces one of the biggest tests yet. Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, all British heavyweight clash for the IBF heavyweight championship of the world. Joshua, better defense, ring IQ. Will his punching power be too much for Daniel Dubois? Or will Daniel Dubois, his youthful energy, his jab, his punching power, give Anthony Joshua PTSD? Well, this is an epic fight, and it's a shame one man has to lose. But for me, there is only one winner. Sorry, Daniel, but how easy are you to hit? I predict it's only a matter of time before Dubois hits the canvas in this fight. And when he hits the canvas, he won't be getting back up. This is just what I think, but what do you all think? All I can say is on September 21st, live on the Zone as part of Riyadh season, we will find out.